It's a warm welcome to Nottingham Hockey Centre. You're watching BTV and it is an exciting game ahead of us here to bring you. Skies are clear and the pitch is in tip-top condition for the first men's match here at Nottingham Hockey Centre in the Premier Division for 2021 to 2022. It's Wimbledon who are the visitors to Beeston today. Before we get in, it's a very, very warm welcome to my colleague to the side of me, Steve Musson. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Andy. Yes, I'm fine, thank you very much.
It is good to be back in the seat with you. Let's bring everyone up to speed. This is the position in the table at the start of the day. Old Georgians are leading the way with a 4-0 victory over Beeston at last weekend's matches, and that, of course, puts Beeston at the bottom of the table. Does that impact on today's match too much, or is it still very early days?
Well, I mean, after one game, you tend not to be in any kind of a panic situation, but the 4-goal deficit is a bit of a concern. Having said that, Wimbledon's first game, they lost that as well, so both teams will be very keen to get a win today and get off to a better start in the league than they did last week.
Talking about today's teams, let's have a look at those match day 16s while we've got the time. Starting with Beeston, first of all, and it's a few new faces in that lineup.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a complete change around in many ways. There's lots of youngsters who have been coming through for a while, such as Henry Croft. Josh Pavis, who's a Beeston junior, is now back with the club, and I'm glad to see him here. Very good defensive player. And a few new faces, Kai Aikiner from Rotweiss Cologne, and obviously the timeless Richard Alexander, Ratman, who makes his debut today for Beeston.
Indeed, if my research is right, that he's now into his 40th year.
Yes, he is, yeah. And I've just seen him as we came in, and he doesn't look any different than he did 15 years ago. So
it's a good skill to have that. So that's the Beeston match day 16. Let's have a look at their opponents, Wimbledon, today. Again, there's a lot of experience in this one, but there's been an upheaval at Wimbledon over the summer. Yeah,
I think this is a consequence of the amount of time that's passed, and players have looked at where they might be and what their futures are, and Wimbledon have experienced as many departures as Beeston, really, and some new faces in there as well, but some very experienced players, as you said.
Indeed. So gone from the Wimbledon lineup, Phil Roper, Jack Waller, Henry Weir, all internationals. They've gone off to play on the continent, as well as Rory Patterson as well. He's gone off to Royal Antwerp.
Yes.
But coming in, they've got Ronan Harvey-Kelly, Sam Hooper, Ed Haller, Callum McKenzie and Duncan Scott. And of course, we were looking at that. No Ed Haller today, no Ben Arnold today either.
No, I think, I know that Ben has got a bit of an injury, so that's unfortunate for them because he's a bit of a driving force in the Wimbledon side, having been the skipper. But there's enough experience there anyway, I think.
We'll quickly touch on yesterday's women's result. And this is the way the table looks this morning as we're waking up. Hampstead and Westminster 2 from 2, 6 points on the board. Beeston in a respectable 4th place following their victory last weekend over Holcombe. Yesterday's result, it was a loss against Surbiton. but it was a 2-0 defeat, and in some ways that feels like
yeah,
a victory.
I think that's a good measure for them, really, because to only go down 2-0 when you're away at Surbiton, I think shows that there's some strength in the side, and having won the week before, it puts them in that nice 4th position after 2 games.
Indeed, steady progress as it goes. So that is today's match. You've met the teams, you know the positions in the table. Conditions are optimal, and pushback is at 2 o'clock. We'll have a quick look at some of the comings and goings over the summer. If this is the first time you're watching BTV this season, it's been a lot of activity over the last 18 months or so. So here's a bit of a recap for you. So over the course of since the start of the pandemic, we've had the conclusion of the season, we've had the start of another season, and as well we've also had a few international tournaments to bring you as well. So summary wise, this is where we are at. So there we go. England's women finished 3rd in Pool B at the Euro Hockey behind Germany and Belgium, which put them into Pool C.
Yeah.
They've done what they needed to do. Wins over Ireland and Scotland to put them into next year's World Cup.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Netherlands taking gold in the final. The men's team, they did very well and then somehow fell a bit flat.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I think unfortunate and disappointing, I think, for them, really.
Okay, so that's the way things looked in the Euro Hockey. Then, of course, all eyes were on Tokyo. And bronze medalists for Great Britain's women. That was an unusual campaign, but they came away with a medal at the end of it. Yeah,
that's right. Again, they've picked up a medal, which is a good sign of how their coaching has gone and the quality of the players they've got.
Very important as well in the wider context for funding for the sport over the next cycle as well. So that's why that medal is not just, it's a nice to have, it's important for the whole sport.
It is, yes, that's right.
For the men's side, they made it into the quarter-finals. There was defeat to India, and again, that was a strange game in itself.
Yeah, that's right.
But no medals for Team GB's men.
No.
Elsewhere, I've mentioned a few of the transfers for Wimbledon. There's been a few movements over the course of the summer. So from the women's side, Maddie Hinch, Anna Toman, Giselle Ansley, Lily Owsley from the Olympic squads have all gone off to the continent. And for the men, even more of those have gone to both Netherlands and Belgium. David Ames, Jacob Draker, Alan Forsyth, Harry Martin, Phil Roper, Brendan Creed, Jack Waller, Zach Wallace. We mentioned a few of those names already.
Yeah.
From a Beeston perspective, Ollie Willars is off to HGC. In fact,
yes, he is,
now.
yeah.
And we've also said goodbye to Adam Dixon, who's retired on a high.
Yes, yeah. Adam, great servant for the club, as we've said many times before, and it's sad to see him stop, but he's done a lot in the sport,
Indeed.
and he's still got plenty to do from a coaching point of view, I hear.
Sometimes it's time for a rest, and that's the most important thing. New innovation for us today on BTV. We have the coach cam looking live at the Beeston bench. A very, very close look up at the Beeston bench.
Yes, we'll be able to see their reactions firsthand, I think, with that. And there's the ever-present Graham Griffiths and Stephen Wood, who is running the bench today with Gareth Andrew, who is the men's coach, actually on the squad today. So it'll be interesting.
So that's worth noting. There will be we will be marking an event before the start of the game, but more on that when the time arrives. So if you're wondering why there'll be a pause, that will be the reason in a few moments. Teams looking into formation. Beeston are almost ready. Wimbledon are still at their warm-up position. What do you reckon we'll see through the game today?
Well, the one thing I'm pretty sure will happen is it's not going to be a tentative start, because Wimbledon don't play like that. They're pretty much driven from Mikey Hoare, former Beeston player, and he likes to get the tempo high, as does the coach Carl Stagno. So I'll expect to see them start with a bang right from the beginning, and Beeston are going to have to be ready for that.
Talking about ready, the Wimbledon team are making their way over. Final instructions over. Wimbledon in the white, Beeston in the all-black today. And it does look good. Conditions are good. Today's match umpires, by the way, for fans of the umpires and the Umpires Union, will be happy we're mentioning Dan Reed and Nick White, who are today's match officials in green in the middle, and will be leading the teams out in just a few moments' time.
I think we've almost got perfect conditions today, Andy. There's nothing untoward at all. It's nice to see hockey played like this. It's always been a summer sport.
I was expecting it to be freezing cold by about this time already. But yes, it's all systems go for match 2 on BTV. As the teams are making their way out, led out by the match umpires. Beeston on the left and Wimbledon on the right. Let's just take a moment to watch the teams come out into formation. That minute's silence impeccably observed here at Nottingham Hockey Centre. And quite a moving moment it was. So Beeston versus Wimbledon coming up in just a few moments' time. Teams are splitting. Final moments. We're looking for a fast start, as you said, for Wimbledon. How are Beeston going to counter that?
Well, hopefully their back four, I think, for Beeston now is really strengthened up with the presence of Richard Alexander, who'll probably play left of the back four, I think, and Kai Aikinger, who's a defensive player, alongside Josh Pavis, and probably with Robbie Gleeson in that area, and that's quite strong, I think. They'll be able to outlet well, which means they can get from their own defensive lines into the opposition's half quite quickly. Robbie Gleeson particularly does that well, and I think they need that possession right from the start, not to be pressed too hard.
Well, we shall see. Moments away. Our watches have just gone to 2 minutes past 2 at the time this is happening. Some of you are watching it live, some of you are watching it on Wednesday evening on Notts TV. A very, very warm welcome to you wherever you're watching around the world. So, Beeston have broken. Let's have a good look at them. We've not been able to see their performance so far because we've not seen their trip to Old Georgians.
That's right. They've these new faces, I'm told, are blending in very well. And even though they had a disappointing result last week, I think there's a good spirit and a good belief that this will become a useful team as the season progresses. So hopefully we'll see some of that today, because no side wants to get off to 2 losses. So both playing for the same reason today.
Indeed, and that adds an extra spice and intensity to the game. It will be Wimbledon in the white shirts who will be getting us underway.
A bit unfortunate last weekend for Wimbledon. They succumbed to 3 Matt Guys-Brown penalty corners. Very difficult player to stop from when Hampstead beat them 3-0, but they fought their way back to 3-2. So it'll be interesting to see.
And we are off and underway. Was it 3 goals before half-time?
I think it was, yeah, that's right.
So Wimbledon, as you mentioned, the fast start that we're looking for. At the moment they're maintaining possession, trying to find a foothold into the game, keeping possession at the base of defence. And already Beeston look like they're snapping into creating pressure from the word go.
I think they're trying to make sure that they don't lose the shape in the front 3. You can see them working well together there. Wimbledon passing the ball around quickly and
finding space gap on the left-hand side. There's a first touch for Peter Scott, and that's good defence from Beeston. Again, from the women's side, we saw the other week really good, sharp, incisive
Yes, yeah.
takes of the ball. And we've already seen that once from the Beeston men, so it's something I think the club as a whole have been working towards.
Yeah, very important that you make those clean tackles early and sort of show that you're right for the role and that you're switched on to what's happening.
Area ball dangerous from the point of view of the defence, so Beeston get the free hit and start from the back. It's been a competitive first 60 seconds.
Yeah, it's a bit of possession now for Beeston, having had a minute or so without the ball. See how they can, if they can build this.
I wonder what we'll see, what percentage of the ball's in the air today. I think it'll be actually quite a game played on the ground.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of skillful players here, and you've got people like Suki Panasar. He's got fast hands and good hand skills, and a lot of powerful passing from the types of players that are out there today. So, as you say, a lot of that might be along the ground.
So I think Beeston now getting a toe hold into the game, managing to get the possession. As I say that, the ball rolls harmlessly out to play on the far side.
You do always get that phase at the beginning of games where you're trying to assert that presence through possession first, and both teams have had a go at that, and now we're back with Wimbledon again.
I think that was an attempted aerial,
yes,
but that's been picked up in midfield from Beeston. With it is Josh Pavis, got it under control eventually.
Yeah, nice, prepared to play that into a tight area in the outletting, and it's been handled nicely by Beeston there. And then we do have an aerial.
And that's one that Wimbledon will mop up via the umpire's whistle.
Yeah, the forward not giving the receiving defender enough space there. So
Peter Scott again, who's featured quite significantly in the first couple of minutes of play.
Both sides have similar possession levels at the moment, but Beeston have always been in their own half, so...
Big call of play as an incisive ball into the circle. That was a good idea, but no one's on the end to receive it. I think Evan Kimber was closest, number 8, who's in the centre of your picture now. Yeah,
quite nicely marshalled by the back four. I was hoping this might be the case from Beeston's point of view. They feel quite positive about the defensive shape and ability. This is where you're getting the press and the pressure from Wimbledon. It's led to a turnover.
Coined a new word there. Press and pressure becomes presh.
Yes.
It's another one of Muss's coinages. You only get that here on BTV. Another lofted ball.
Space.
Yes, but been mopped up on halfway by Wimbledon. A bit scrappy.
Yeah.
Huge, massive black shirts eventually win the ball back for Beeston. But where's the outlet?
See, these little turnovers that happen in this part of the pitch can lead to a lot of trouble if you don't keep your shape defensively.
Incremental progress along the side of the field.
Richard Alexander on the ball there. Josh Pavis, I think, very cool player, and stays calm on the ball. Good protection skills from him, and I think that's very important from Beeston's point of view, whereas Robbie Gleeson, his style is to be progressive and quick, and you can see he's already moved through to the midfield.
Another whistle, and then Beeston turn over possession. Yeah. We saw Wimbledon actually walking to the hockey centre.
Yeah, today. We did, yes. I think they've the fuel shortage has put them on the train and the tram, which I think was probably just as effective as getting them here, really.
It's a decent warm-up.
Yes. Yeah.
That's taken down neatly.
Too much space, really, there.
And Evan Kimber right in the middle of it. Wimbledon not wasting any time at all. And
I think I'd rather see Beeston getting set early rather than just sort of the hand in the air and the steady move back. They need to shape up for this.
And that's quite fortunate as things go, as Beeston were a little bit scrambling in defence.
Yeah, that's right. You can't afford to dwell with the self-pass restart. There's no delay at all, and you have to be instantly ready to defend.
Quickly moving, but the ball's not moving out of the final quarter from a Beeston defensive perspective.
Wimbledon happy to leave that high forward there, which makes the passing lines tricky, and of course ultimately if you don't keep your standards up, that results in a turnover.
Just kept on the end of the stick. That's Callum McKenzie in possession now, spreading it across defence.
You can see how Wimbledon happy to play with the two guys at the back, bolstering the middle of the park, but unfortunately it's led to a turnover.
Yes, you heard the bang as the ball was played straight out of play on the full. And Beeston will go from here, and then it's number 9, Connor Sine, who will look to receive the ball. In fact, he's made the space for himself.
I think Robbie Gleeson's unhappy with that, because that, I think, clearly looked like it hit a foot, a Wimbledon foot.
I think I also heard a call of play on, and then everyone stopped. But it could just be my ears, who knows.
Now again, this transfer around the back for Wimbledon, 2 players and pushing other defenders high, is causing Beeston issues at the minute.
Nice takedown, and into the circle, but that's a waft by Johnny Sturch-Hibbett. Can't get the control in the circle.
Richard Alexander covered well there, right across from his left back roll. Stepped in nicely, so they've obviously worked on how they're going to put their cover play into place.
By the way, if you're watching us for the first time, you're watching a game of 4 quarters and 2 halves. 17.5 minutes a quarter, so 35 minutes a half, and the teams change ends at half time. So Wimbledon trying to find a way through. Beeston marking the space very well.
Yeah, they're just defending their own half at the moment, and not a couple of forays forward, but
this could be a chance here for Wimbledon, and that's up and over the goal. That's the first real clear goal-scoring opportunity of the game, and it's gone to the visitors.
Yeah, the overload of forwards in the D there was 3 Wimbledon forwards in there, so it made it easier for the player feeding the D to find one of them, and there was the first chance.
Nice gift of a possession turnover on halfway. Such a sunny day, it's difficult to make out and identify the players, so apologies if we are struggling to tell you who's in possession. At the moment it's just team has ball, but
Wimbledon prepared to step in front of a receiving player there and keep their tempo high, and resulted in getting the ball back again, and now it's back in their control. So again, Beeston trapped in their own half at the minute.
Duncan Scott in possession nearest to the camera. Now it's Mikey Hoare. And now a lofted ball towards the right-hand side that bounces a couple of times, and things are starting to settle for Wimbledon as they enter the circle again. Hujwan is down. Umpire is right on it. They're claiming a goal, and that's the first goal of the game.
Yeah, right side attack, an overload, 3 players in the D again, and easy to find one of them, and that's where the goals come from.
And our second pair of eyes on the field suggest it's Ben Francis that's put the visitors into the lead.
Yeah, I think the worry out of that first phase of play is the few times that Beeston are able to get out of their own half, and they're going to have to try to improve that quite quickly.
So, per your preamble, it is Wimbledon that have taken the lead early in the game. Bit of a scramble in front of the goalkeeper. I think Simon Hujwan was unfortunate there because he was stranded a little bit on the ground.
Well, again, the other thing is when you've got so many players in there, it's less easy for the keeper. He's not got clear lines of vision. This is where I think Beeston need to, you have to take a little bit of a risk to get forward, and they don't want to see a trend that we've seen so far with Wimbledon being able to build all the play.
Ben Kibble taking the ball down on the far side and hammering it out of play, I think, for a Beeston sideline ball. One match ball as is the norm nowadays.
Yes.
No ball control anymore.
That's all we ever used to have. But Beeston's midfield now need to step into this a bit, really. There's not been enough possession in there. The midfield of any team is a development part of the team, and they need to stamp their authority on this a bit. This is a bit better.
Nice turn into the circle for the first time for Beeston. Tap towards goal, but being swatted away from Wimbledon. Here goes number 9, Connor Sine. He's done very well to retain possession and get as close as he did to the edge of the circle. Play continues. Robbie Gleeson looks to make his way into the circle, possibly find a foot. No, way through there, and it's gone out of play.
Very, yeah, unfortunate when you're in a good position, the right-hand side of the pitch, often you ought to be able to create something from it. I think that was all a bit too tight.
With the scrum cap is Duncan Scott, number 7, and he's going to say had the ball cleanly stolen from him, but
yes,
obviously not.
Not quite, no.
Scramble for the ball. And
sometimes having the ball in the corner, as we saw with Beeston then, is quite difficult. You've got to think about how you're going to get that ball out. Often it's a case of getting it back out for a high-pitch transfer or a quick feed into the D, because defenders are very good at getting low and blocking all your routes straight in.
Pressure immediately.
Yeah,
from
good
Wimbledon. Press
again. High forward and three Wimbledon players behind is making life difficult for Beeston. Richard Alexander not sure where his next pass was there. Suki Panasar actually blocking his lines. He needed to probably clear out a little bit.
That's neat.
Good pick-up. That's
that
better.
Bobby Gleeson plays it inside. And on his bike at the moment is Henry Croft playing it inside. Things could open up here into the circle. Is there a turn and shot? It's played towards the Wimbledon foot. Big call for a foot, but play continues. And Wimbledon seem to have come out of danger.
Yeah, another good example of good low defence. No risk. The Beeston player couldn't find the Wimbledon defender's foot. So good defence from Wimbledon. And here they are back in possession again.
Flip side of that is it's more promising from a Beeston perspective, finally entering the circle and
that's
looking
right.
dangerous when they do so.
Yes.
Sorry, no, Ben.
Yeah, Wimbledon prepared to try anything. Double feed into the middle of the park, and sure enough, Reece Smith finds his way through.
Reece Smith, a player with great talent as well. I've seen him indoors as well.
Yes,
he's very, very good.
Yeah, driving force in the middle of the park, skillful enough to get through the whole midfield line, and then that becomes dangerous with the way that Wimbledon are playing with 3 high players all the time.
Wimbledon finding the space on the left-hand side, chop inside, try and confuse the defence, go around the outside, slipped into the circle, huge collision of players. Umpire's decision is the ball's gone out over the back line.
5-6 Wimbledon players in there then. Beeston players trying very hard to make sure that they are blocking the lines of play of the ball into the D, so it could have easily hit a foot, but they've got away with it this time.
Indeed, we're waiting for the rediscovery of the match ball as well. This is should be off and underway in a few moments. First break coming up at 17.5 minutes, don't forget. And easily
in
picked
again.
off again.
Yeah, this pressure from Wimbledon is very difficult for Beeston to deal with at the moment.
High intensity game as well, and the conditions aren't helping things. There's a disappearing stick in the middle of that, but that was a nice touch out of harm's way from Beeston's defence, but at the expense of a long corner by the looks of things.
Yeah, Wimbledon nicely in control of this build-up play at the moment, and it's fine for them to play like this, and it's great, but from Beeston's opportunity is probably from a counter-attack in this situation if they make a mistake and turn the ball over.
Ball travelling all the way through again. You can see the umpire's arms fully outstretched, indicating that.
You could do with making an interception in this kind of play in order to create the counter-attack. If it goes off the back, Wimbledon find it very easy to set up their defence again.
If you were to draw a line of where the ball's been in the last 2 minutes or so, it's more or less where it is now.
It is, yeah, that's right. Close to Beeston's own 25-yard line.
And foray upfield have been easily snuffed out as well.
Yes, yeah.
So much to think about after the first 15 minutes of play come to a close.
I mean, Carl Stagno as Wimbledon's coach, very organised, and you can see in the patterns of play that they've got that this is well rehearsed.
As someone who takes training, is this something you can recreate easily of a weeknight?
Yeah, you can if you've got a willing bunch of players. I mean, players sometimes like the activity in training sessions.
Look at the pace here as Wimbledon break again. Just 2 players up front at the moment. Can they make the link between the 2 of them? No. Decent stuff from Richard Alexander.
Yeah, he's done well there, yeah.
And it's being kept in play. Beeston hanging on to it under enormous pressure, and Wimbledon have got it back via the whistle.
They have. Quick restart.
space opening up, and I think that's gone for a long.
Yeah, another restart for Wimbledon in a high position. Robbie Gleeson's trying to marshal everybody and make sure that they're in position.
They really aren't taking time at all to get going again. The ball's in position for a moment, then it's restarted. Play toward goal, flying through the air.
Yeah,
was Ben Francis. He's already got one.
Yeah, pressure was on and it's fallen for Beeston. We were just saying you can recreate this kind of pattern in training, but you've got to have a willing group who sometimes are prepared just to go through the motions to understand how their lines of running are. And Wimbledon will do that very well under Carl Stagno. And I think, to be fair, so will Beeston when Gareth Andrews settled in. I think there's enough here to show me that there's a side that can actually progress and improve once it settles.
This is a genuine question and not one posed by, for telly purposes. Did Gareth Andrew play last week, or do we know?
I don't think he did, no.
No, he didn't. Okay. It's been so difficult over the course of the last week finding information.
Yeah.
But we'll draw a line under that. Beeston under pressure in the defence. They're having to go the long way around it. The good endeavour from Wimbledon. And they've won the ball back again, and it's been kept very neatly. Nice from Jack Turner.
Yeah.
And with it now is Sam Hooper, back to Turner again.
A slight concern from Beeston's point of view, and a question I would ask is who is the goal scorer? And do we have enough players willing to win corners? Have we got a good routine that can make corners beneficial?
Look at the speed again, into the circle
dangerous.
They go. Where's the cutback? Goalkeeper's down, and that's been turned in for the second.
Able to travel a long, long way with the ball there. Not really tackled or challenged at any point, and the slip pass for the finish was really very straightforward for Wimbledon. So, again, you can handle pressure like this for so long, but sooner or later it's going to cause you problems.
And disappointment on the Beeston bench. So, I think that might even be the final action of the first quarter. What a way to end the quarter as well.
Yes, absolutely. They've they've done a lot of defending, and with a side as potent as Wimbledon, that's going to cause trouble, and it has done. 2-0 by the quarter break is a worry.
Indeed. I'll just talk again down the line to our colleagues who are on the line. Who might be able to tell me who that second goal scorer was? I'm just waiting for that to... It is Arthur Hughes with the second goal for Wimbledon. So it is a 2-goal buffer with 17.5 minutes played. No, not the greatest of starts, but anything can happen over the next 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's right. I think Beeston will want more from the midfield. I think Wimbledon are finding it very easy to actually get through that line of play, and sometimes you need to hold them up at that point, and that's not been happening.
Okay, so the position of the game as the teams are having their 2-minute quarter time break is Beeston 0, Wimbledon 2. You are watching BTV on a very sunny afternoon. Teams are almost ready for the start of the second quarter, so it's all to do for Beeston.
It definitely is. The back four have had far too much work to do, really. Wimbledon have worked that out. They're finding it easy to get beyond the midfield line, and then you're in a scrambled defence situation where you're trying to retreat as quick as possible with the game already behind you. So I'm sure that's what the coaches have talked about. They need a bit more possession higher up the pitch.
That's gone an awful long way. Has that been kept in? That's brilliant.
He's done that well.
Bouncing away outside of the circle. Now, Beeston, a little bit of open space coming up, and that's quickly done. And that's nicely from Eddie Harper. Now, where's the support? He's gone for the layoff. And Wimbledon reach in.
Can't help feeling.
Scott.
Yeah, can't help feeling Eddie Harper had a lot more space ahead of him. Then he could have kept that going. Right-hand side attack, get beyond your defender.
That's a real tough one, but that again has been kept in incredibly well. A little bit behind the player on the far side, but a dive and a stretch popped the ball up and kept it in play. That's one for the highlights reel for sure.
Here we go, right-hand side, bit of clear ground again, but Wimbledon close it off quickly.
And that's a longer blow with a whistle. I think we're getting towards the first cards of the game.
Possibly. That's just a little bit of a warning about the type of tackle that Wimbledon put in. But they do that because they're retreating and they've broken down the play again, and that's part of the game, really. A little moment like that, the bit of momentum that Beeston had has just slowed down, but at least they've got the possession. Here we are again with space.
Things are starting to open up. Eddie Harper going towards the baseline. Has he maintained possession of the ball? No, he hasn't, and Wimbledon have done very well. However, it's rolled a long way, and we will be going back.
I think that hit a foot somewhere on the route, so... But Beeston obviously thinking to themselves, worried about pressing high and being caught. They're quite deep there, almost what you'd call a half-court press, where they're only defending their own half. It's giving Wimbledon lots of time for this in and out process, where they're probing to see where they can find gaps, and they've got skillful players who are able to eliminate a player and get into the dangerous areas.
They are finding a space and using the ball well in possession.
Yeah.
Are Wimbledon, and they're trying to pull the Beeston defence apart, and that's a cross-field ball taken down just on the edge of the circle, and that's the first penalty corner of the game for Wimbledon. Yeah,
very good basics, build up. They've been prepared to bring the ball back out again, having got into the 25. The aerial has been well received and taken down nicely, and then just easily bumped onto a foot. So a dangerous moment again, because it's the first penalty corner.
Whilst we're pausing and looking at the replay, I mean, look at that take again. Delightful ball as well. Delivery from Sam Hooper, 15, who's nearest to us on the camera on the replay.
Yeah.
Who's likeliest to be striking this for Wimbledon, do you think?
I'm not sure of that. I think they've got Ian Sloan looking like he's lining up there. Hard to tell, really, and I think this is one of the things that we've not been able to do over the last few months, is work out who's doing what for which team. I wouldn't be surprised if this was not necessarily a straight flick. It could be a first move by Wimbledon. We'll see.
Yeah, it could be a trap, and there could be a skill and a bit of deception. So you never know what you're going to get, and that's half the fun of a penalty corner. Sometimes it's a shot, sometimes it's a routine. What are we going to get from the visitors here?
They've got players with good skill, so they might well use that. We'll see.
The trap is good. It is a shot, and that's been bounced off the pads of Simon Hujwan in the Beeston goal. He had to block that.
He did. One of Simon's strengths. He does read the short corner flick quite well. He's made quite a lot of saves like that. This is where we need... you see that?
I was about to remark at how quickly Beeston went from that save all the way down to the other end.
Disappointing that. I mean, all that need is to be kept in play, and you're in the D. You can think of connecting passes, you can think of finding a foot for a corner. Would have been an ideal way to try and fight back into the game, but basics missing. And back to the same pattern that we've seen so far for pretty much most of the game. It's very hard for Beeston to try and find a way of pressing this.
So, what could work in Beeston's favour if Wimbledon keep up this rate? Can they keep up this rate of pressing? Will they tire, is the question.
I suspect that they'll be able to keep up this, because they can see at the moment that Beeston are struggling with it. They're not particularly working hard to do it either, and I think that so it's not going to be a question of running out of energy. And this is all for Beeston to sort out.
And again, it's a gift of possession already. Wimbledon enter third, and that's wide of the upright.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with that. I mean, again, that's Beeston error. They're feeding that ball into the midfield, and a turnover in that position. 3 Wimbledon forwards on it. We've seen when Wimbledon make that move, they keep the ball.
Griffiths looking
turnover
to
again.
Play the ball towards the edge of the corner of the field, and it's been picked off, and that's a nice little reverse ball. Going forward with it is Duncan Scott. He's had to check back.
Space and time, you see, look, and here we go. The player on the ball, all the time in the world to get his basics good, make a quality pass, and then go patient. No risk of a turnover there.
Always harder without the ball.
Yeah. Particularly on a day like today, because it's pretty warm out there.
Indeed. And it's gone out on the full, so already starting to turn our attention towards that half-time team talk.
Yes,
What
yeah.
words are going to be said?
Well, I certainly think it sounds like such a simple message, but Beeston's basics have got to come up a bit. Their thought process on the passing lines has got to improve. We've already seen that ball turned over in the midfield when the receiving player is surrounded by 3 Wimbledon players. And whilst the back 4, I think, are passing it well, it's not quite the same in the middle. We've seen it again there.
That was a poor decision, I think, and Wimbledon are in the circle. That's a nice layoff, played in towards goal, turned in Hudgwan right on the scene and gets the benefit of the whistle. Now, Beeston, I thought for a moment they were going to try and play it very quickly out of defence, but I think the right thing to do here is
they've got to take a bit of time. There's plenty of time in the game, and they need to try and settle into some kind of a pattern. But again, they cannot afford to try to outlet by using a midfield player who then loses the ball. It's too dangerous. Wimbledon are too strong for that.
And again, it's an interception from the visitors, which sees them work their way down the right-hand side. Support is coming up in the middle. Play on, and that's a nice step in, a nice win of the ball, but immediately the pressure has come on. There's no easy way out of that position.
No, and it had to be a back 4 defence tackle again, because there's the midfield. There's no presence there at the moment, and that must be a real worry.
Swept in towards goal. Hudgwan called into position again.
Yeah,
and I think he's the difference at the moment between it being 2 and 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's recognised that he's going to need to have to play quite a bit today.
Yeah, I think the shot coming in from Ronan Harvey-Caddy, number 17 there. But,
unusual phenomenon, really, because you get goalkeepers having their best game sometimes, for obvious reasons, when they're most under pressure.
Scramble out of Beeston defence. Finally, things start to click.
Pace.
Immediately, the possession is under pressure.
Yeah, I would be talking about the pace of the pass. Even that there, it's got to travel a lot quicker to give the receiving player more time to make a decision. Good ball in there, bit of space.
Sometimes it's like climbing a mountain. You've got to master the foothills before you climb the
That's right,
peak.
yeah.
And at the moment, we're looking at foothills territory. Reed tries to turn and eventually rolls the ball back and creates a little bit of pressure in the Beeston defence, although possession is maintained. And immediately
in the middle of the park, so again, difficult, not naturally knowing how to get out of that position. Didn't have a clear and obvious return pass because the back 4 were too far away, and Wimbledon spot that and stamp all over it.
Whilst we've got our thinking caps on, this is the first of 2 games in a week for Beeston men. They're on a bye in the league next weekend. However, there's a big game against the Malaysian team, and that is such a chance. Slicing through the Wimbledon defence, but not quite able to get the stick on it for 2-1.
Well, you see forwards from time to time just putting everything on the line there, that you almost have to take a huge risk for any kind of cross like that and dive into it and get well in.
Clearly, it came off a Wimbledon stick last, as it's a long corner. So as an important defensive touch, I think that may have been the difference.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Doing a restart from a little bit further wide?
I think in a game like this is where you can change the emphasis a bit. They're in a good position and they need to get something out of this, be effective. A corner would be good.
All eyes on Panesar at the moment. I knew the ball was going to him, and that was the space, that was the ball, but not much has come from that other than the confidence of retaining the possession. No,
Wimbledon marshalled well around the top of the D. Couldn't find obvious lines in to forwards. I always think when you've got a difficulty like getting into the top of the D, we've seen Beeston a couple of times with space on the right-hand side, going round a player and feeding from there, as Wimbledon have done on 2 occasions, is worth a try. And they've got enough speed and pace to be able to do that. I think it's a tactic they ought to perhaps work on.
Tempo's just slowed down a touch, but it's still Wimbledon that are finding a way into the circle. Although 2 players in between.
Looking for a
goal.
foot.
That's a big foot, and that is the second penalty corner of the game, and you could tell that was coming for about 5 seconds before it happened.
Well, the Wimbledon forward just thought, well, what's my best option here? The best option, I've got a defender who's not quite balanced, he's certainly not low enough, and he's got big training shoes on, so I'll just put it on one of those.
50%
There you
success
go,
from
look,
Beeston.
not quite balanced, and there it is.
Big claim that it was coming off the hand.
Yes,
because
that's right.
The hand is part of the stick.
Yeah,
But
no question in Nick White's mind there that it was a foot.
So we've already seen a drive from the first penalty corner. Mix it up and try for something more innovative.
Possibly. I mean, if they think that Simon Hujwan is going to pick the direct flick, then they might try something different. They've got a single castle set up there, which tells you that there might be some options that they might think of using.
Matt Brown a little bit further back, likely striker of the ball.
By single castle, we're talking about a trapper and a flicker stood behind. You can see that there. There's no second castle that they could use, so fairly obvious where the ejection's going. It's then what they do afterwards.
We're all set. Trap is good.
There you
That's
go.
reversed, played in, and then, whoa, dear. That was a close thing.
Yeah, Simon Hujwan likes that left post. He defends it well, and the man on the line as well. I'm not quite sure that looked a bit like keeper's pads, but it's this immediacy of the turnover back to Wimbledon that's so difficult, because you feel like you're forever trying to defend, and it's
Also,
very frustrating.
New information. It was close to the post. In fact, it hit it.
Did it? Right.
So that's the view from the other side of the ground. So Hujwan was in place, however, didn't get a touch. It was the post that stopped Wimbledon from adding to their goal tally.
I mean, this passing around the back for Beeston at the moment, it's working, but look how deep they are. And some of the ball pace on each of these passes has been slow. There we go, sort of finding a way out. But the pressure, great pressure from Wimbledon.
And already you can see 3 players streaming forward looking for a route, however, overstepping the mark a touch.
Yes, yeah. But the more times they do this, steal the ball and attack hard down the right-hand side, the more options they're going to have and the more chance to get to score. And Beeston can only defend that so many times.
Indeed, and part of that is training yourself to be in the right place at the right time. The more times it happens, the more times you can make yourself into the right position to receive the ball. And again,
with a loss in the middle of the park. Yeah.
Big call of play there. It did look suspiciously foot-like. And that is the third. Another foot in the circle.
Finding it very easy to found the feet of these defenders. But having said that, we've made the point that they're under pressure. They've done more work as a defensive unit than any other part of the team have, and it gets tiring.
Just drawing the defender in, then playing it off. I think the unfortunate player there was Josh Pavis.
Yes, it was, yeah. But he's had to do that many times. And if you ask me where the trigger point of that was, it was the easy turnover in the middle of the park. Because once again, before the back forward set, they were under pressure again.
You can see some notes being made on the side of the field of play. And I think getting ready to be spoken at volume.
I would think so, yes.
Home players at half-time.
It's often a confidence thing. I mean, some of Beeston's players are youngsters, but they need to play with confidence. They need to know that they can keep that ball, pass it on quickly.
Look at the players around the top of the circle at the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone's all bunched up together. Is there? They
2 castles now, so they've got a slightly different thought process here. So now the doubt is in Beeston defence's mind, particularly the number 1 runner. Which one of the trappers will it go to? So a good tactic that obviously Carl Stagno has introduced to them. And now we've got a player broken the line before the injection, and so even less defenders.
Henry Croft having to retire back to the halfway line. So will Wimbledon do exactly the same thing? Or I think they will. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, very psychologically strong from Wimbledon's point of view. They messed around with the way they set up first time. Now there's loads of question marks. Now Beeston are down to 3 defenders. They'll do well to defend this.
There's the trap. It's towards the left-hand side. It's been padded away again. It will come in again, I'm sure, on the reverse side. And that's an important touch in. And Beeston have come away with the ball. What a remarkable passage of play.
That's right. I mean, good strategy and tactics from Wimbledon on the way they run their corners. But Beeston have to thank Simon Hujwan for his saves. He's made 3 left-hand side now, and he looks quite comfortable.
Yes. Yep.
Famous last words.
The two goals that have come in have been when he's been at exposed, I think, and it's been out of his control.
Correct. Yes, that's right. To be fair, Beeston have done all right with the defensive corners, but
Griffiths has done very well here to maintain the possession and also find a teammate. And James Hunt has.
That's where you have to be really tough on the ball there. James Hunt in a good position. He's got the control of the ball. The defender's trying to tackle him with his reverse side. He needs to just crash through that and find his way into the 25.
So approaching half-time on BTV, inviting your thoughts on player of the match, which we'll hopefully put in before the end of the game. At official BHC on Twitter, if you could let us know your thoughts on who stood out. It doesn't have to be a Beeston player. It could be anyone has caught the eye, and there have been a couple of players that definitely caught the eye in this game. Wimbledon, though, more of a unit.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I would say that the way that I would probably say Carl Stagno in a way, because from a coaching point of view, the way he's got them set up is perfect, and all the players are working together nicely. It's meant we've seen some good quality from all of them.
Oh my word, that was risky across the back from a Beeston perspective. You saw the furthest player forward for Wimbledon sliding to try and turn the ball into the goal, but and it's so nearly given over again.
Yes.
I think it's true to say Beeston have to play with more risk
to
get more reward. However, it as a commentator, it does give you hints.
And you'd prefer that they were doing that in the opposition's half, I think.
Make your own life a bit difficult. As the clock ticks over towards 35 minutes, that is half time. It is Wimbledon 2, the visitors, that is Beeston 0. And it's been a great example of having a game plan and sticking to your game plan from Wimbledon point of view. Beeston haven't found an answer for that. And they have 35 minutes to try and find one.
I think that's right. And I think, to be fair, Beeston, building this side and squad will aspiring to where Wimbledon are at, but Wimbledon are ahead of them at the moment in terms of their development.
And that's the picture at half-time. Beeston and Wimbledon 2 goals from Ben Francis and Arthur Hughes. The difference, we'll have a half-time hot drink and come back refreshed, ready for what looks like to be a dramatic second half on BTV.
Yes.
Welcome back to BTV. You can see on your screen the position as the game is about to get underway for the second half. Beeston 0, Wimbledon 2, both teams having to be taken off the field for watering at half-time, but I had a feeling that Beeston will be making their way inside to the changing room, so we have some instructions given to them.
I think that's right. I mean, there's no doubt they've got to try and find a way of getting forward better, not losing sight of the fact that the game of hockey is about getting to the opposition's D. They just didn't do that anything like enough. They can do that down the right hand side. They've had 2 or 3 opportunities to progress down there which would have given them chances. They've not really taken those on, and it really is something they're going to have to work hard on. I think most of this is coming from a problem in the middle of the park.
We aren't going to get underway just yet, as there's some water gathered on the field of play, which is unusual.
It is. It'll soon clear.
It just seems to have gathered at one point. I think the wind
Yeah,
had a lot of factors.
the wind's had an effect. The clubhouse roof is saturated because most of the water's gone on there.
It's good to know that none of the spectators were wet at half-time, because we gave them thorough warning that
That's
the
right.
water was about to occur. That is a feature of the game. It's a water-based pitch. We need to get water on it somehow, and by water cannons is the way. So we are being held up at the moment, whilst
that clears a bit, yeah.
I've been at the Olympic Park on the old pitch with the Union Jack outline.
Yeah.
I've been there as an international game. I think it was Belgium versus Germany. That had to be suspended back in the Euro hockey. I think it was 2017 or 2016. I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was that wet they had to stop the game because it wasn't draining. And that
doesn't drain through.
Pitches.
Yeah, it is an issue. As pitches get older and the drainage blocks off a bit, it's not so easy for the water to get through.
So you aren't missing anything at the moment. There's no injury. We are not yet ready for the start of the second half. However, that player movement in the centre of your camera picture is probably going to suggest that we are good to go.
Well, this second half, and certainly this third quarter that we're about to face, is going to be the make or break part for Beeston. They've got to get something out of this. The only way they can do that is by getting to the opposition's D.
Thank you for joining us on BTV. It is a sunny day. Beeston know what they need to do. Get back into it. And already they're on the front foot and looking to get into the circle at the first opportunity. It's been turned behind.
Yeah, somebody's had a word about getting forward, I'm sure. Shame they couldn't get a corner out of that. They could do with a corner. It'd be nice, to have a few moments where they're set at the opposition's D. Just gives you a different perspective on things.
Sometimes, yes, and this will be a good opportunity to utilise Gareth Andrews' strike.
Yes, that's right, yes.
But, yes, I think that, I could be wrong, my maths could be wrong, but that's 50% as many times as Beeston have been in the circle.
Yes, that's
in the
right,
first half,
yeah.
Already in the second half.
I mean, they're not, obviously Beeston not prepared to get any more of a high press going, and I think that's, we've talked about being prepared to take a risk, and that's one of them. Sometimes you have to pressure these guys on the ball a bit, slow them down, give them less time. One of them might make a mistake.
Good call. Wimbledon get the shout though, and with it is Callum McKenzie looking to go back and maintain the possession, get that rhythm back. We'll see some side to side, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, colour me wrong. They've decided to move forward and confuse the Beeston defence. If I was expecting that, then they were expecting that too.
Yes.
That's important. Step in from defence, stick to stick, and Beeston get the whistle.
They've got to stop allowing Wimbledon to dictate terms, and I think some of that might come from a little bit more activity and pressing from the forwards.
A bit of confusion here. For a moment, I thought that Wimbledon had won the ball.
Yeah.
And then everyone stepped back, and then Beeston looked to claim the ball, and then Wimbledon had it again. Play continues, though. Growls of frustration we can hear through the window at the chapel.
Yes, that's right.
With the ball, Josh Pavis takes a...
Now, you see, this is fine with Beeston having the ball in strong in their back four, but Wimbledon are happy to reset. They've got a 2-0 lead. They're in shape, and so it's difficult for Beeston again. They've got to try and catch them out a bit by swifter restarts, maybe just looking to get the ball into the opposition's 25.
Now that was a quicker pass, however it didn't come off, but it's a better sign.
Yeah, definitely.
If the ball doesn't cross halfway, Wimbledon will be happy with that.
Absolutely. You can cover that all day. At the moment they've got the 3 points, and it's for Beeston to turn this around. Again, very straight line, long way inside their own half. A little bit better, but easy way out.
Beeston do have the ball though.
Yeah.
And often you find that a strong base gives you a strong midfield, which helps strong forwards.
Yes.
At the moment, the defence doesn't seem that strong.
No.
They are strong players. They need to be working as a unit. I think they've been caught out too often.
Yeah.
And that's a potential gift if this
Pace, yeah. Ball pace.
And big ooh again.
I know.
That was very, very close to being intercepted high up the field from a Wimbledon perspective.
In order for your back four to function properly, you've got to have a midfield which is present and busy in itself, because otherwise it just ends up being passed around.
6 in the picture, and that's gone in for a third for Wimbledon. It's so easy for the visitors.
Yeah, I think we saw the slow passing around the back from the Beeston defence there, and it's just going to give opportunities. It's very easy to turn over the ball by Wimbledon, and
let's follow 22 Reece Smith. Just takes the ball as soon as he gets the opportunity, he fires it in. Hogeland, no chance.
Lovely little connecting pass into the edge of the D. The ball into Reece Smith was the key part of that.
But yeah, we're talking about the themes of not wasting time. Almost a fraction of a second once that ball's in the circle. Here's a shooting opportunity.
Right, yes,
it was in the back of the net.
Beauty of having the space, because you've not got anybody stopping you hitting that ball, and he was able to target the bottom corner.
And I think we're seeing a tiny bit of frustration.
Yes, I think that's right. I think there's... I think you have to be honest sometimes when you watch games like this. There's a difference in ability of the two units, and Beeston will be keen to address that and to get that and to improve as the season goes on. But at the moment, Wimbledon's basics are stronger and their lines of passing are better. And I have to say, I think their work rate is stronger, but that's because Beeston are on the back foot and finding it very difficult to get out of their own defensive areas.
Richard Alexander looks to play the ball down, and that's fallen kindly. Now running with it is Will Prentice. Now the layoff is good, and that's fired into the circle, but to no one in particular, and punching the ground in frustration is Henry Croft.
Yes, yeah. Well, if you're going to put crosses in, which is all he could do from that position, it's got to be low and hard, and it's got to go towards the far post, probably inside the penalty spot, and you've got to have forwards in there. Henry Croft's frustration led to him just really skying it.
Half an hour to play, or thereabouts, and that's gone a long way, and that is another big chance presented towards Wimbledon. The right thing to do was try and take the ball out of the air, but not present it to your opponents.
Yeah, that's right. And again, you can see the intent on Wimbledon's part. They know that they're not being too pressured at the back, so they can afford to send the forwards into the D. 3 of them in there again. It could quite easily have fallen to one of those forwards, and that would have been a fourth. That's
so, trying not to be the merchant of doom, but it was a 4-0 defeat last week against Old Georgians.
Yes.
3 against Wimbledon. Is this the sign of something that needs addressing and quickly?
Well, I think so. I think you've also got to sort of respect the fact that Old Georgians and Wimbledon are going to be in that top 4-5 come the end of the season. And Beeston are going to have a different sort of a battle, I think, as the season goes on. But there's no reason why they can't deal with that. It's just an awful way to start.
We were watching the pre-season tournament, or I was watching the pre-season tournament a couple of weeks ago here, and talking to the coaching teams.
Yeah.
The difficulty of being difficult to beat was the thing.
Yes,
and they looked
that's
good
right.
in that tournament. However, we've not seen that yet in the league, and of course it's
a question of standards.
And there's a cross exactly as you described as well.
That's right.
Hard, low. No one on the end of it to turn it in.
Forwards in there, so there's more of a chance of something coming of it. It's unfortunate. I mean, you still have challenges in games like this when you're 3-0 down. Getting a goal, being in possession, practicing for your next game, there's always something positive that you can bring out of it. But you've got to have a willingness and intent. By
the way, we can really hear the voice of the players from the field of play, and it's gone up a notch from the first half. Now, I'm not sure whose voices those belong to.
No.
So there's space, but immediately closed down.
See, every time the front three for Wimbledon are travelling backwards and forwards across the halfway line very nicely, but the geometry of the setup behind is really good. That got through between the right forward and the centre forward, and instantly there was a right midfield in behind.
That was very, very smart from Will Prentice, number 18 from Beeston. Not even looking at the ball.
No. This is where I think Wimbledon have too much time. They can pick the accuracy of their passes because they're not really under enough pressure.
Brendan Andrews clattered with the ball there.
Yeah.
Bruise in the morning, I think. Into the circle they go. Turn. Very important footwork not to stand on the ball.
That's right, yeah. But again, Wimbledon's intent, see a line into the D, feed it in. Make the Beeston defence struggle.
By the way, it's nice to see a lovely crowd here at Nottingham Hockey Centre, enjoying the sunshine and enjoying the game. I'm sure we've got supporters here from both sides.
Yep, that's right, yeah. That's the one thing about the setup here. There's lots of space, lots of facilities for spectators, and lots of pitches.
That's true. There's only one we're interested in at the moment, though. Yep. That's the one that's currently being broadcast on BTV. And that's another, potentially, is a turnover.
Loose on the ball. That first touch from, I think that was Suki Panasar. It was a good metre off his stick. And the net result is a penalty corner. It's not difficult to see how it's happening. The ball into a midfield player. It's not under control. Very easily stepped onto by a Wimbledon player. Here we go, look. So
Second
easy.
Attempt.
Yeah.
Trying to follow the ball and the stick, taking the player on the way through.
The one thing about build-up play in the game of hockey is that the person receiving the ball has to keep it tight to the stick. It's the first thing you do, because you're going to be pressed, and if it's too far off, as we saw there, it'll be taken away. The only times you can bounce that ball away from your stick is when you're in sort of counter-attack or progressive moves. But when you're trying to get out of your own half, it's fatal.
Got a pause here as the equipment needs to be retrieved from the bag. I think there's a little bit of difficulty there. That's why the umpire's blown the whistle.
Yeah.
And we'll pause. I did see someone running in, and it's been confirmed to me via my earpiece that there was a player short. You know, saying about getting the basics right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think we'll leave that there.
Yeah, I think you can see that there's quite a lot of organisational stuff to go on as well. Whereas with Wimbledon, they're instantly knowing what's what, and it sets you ahead.
Two options around the edge of the circle, a little bit of movement. They're ready.
Defence don't know where that's going to be injected to, which castle.
Indeed, nice little twist as well. Okay. It's been played towards the left-hand side, low and hard, and I think Reece Smith could have turned that in.
Yeah, looking for a deflection, and I think they've just slightly got their lines wrong, and it's hit their own player on the foot. So it's not been that many occasions when we've said Wimbledon have got anything particularly wrong, but
big challenge in midfield. Beeston come away with the ball. They're going to leave it, try and pile a few more bodies forward.
See, this is what I think they need to do more of. They've got to be transferring that ball higher up the pitch, and they've got to be prepared to feed it into the D and see what comes of it.
That's the first real challenge that Wimbledon have faced as a defensive unit in the second half, and they came away with the ball so easily.
Yes, yeah. But you see, we had Josh Pavis there, number 14. He was much higher up the pitch, bearing in mind he's one of the centre-backs and he's in the opposition's half. So this is what we talk about with high transfer. It's happening in the opponent's half.
That's a decent interception. With it is 13, Suki Panesar. He's under a lot of pressure. Is there a route out from here? Clash of sticks that we can hear. Panesar still with the ball.
Wimbledon are set nice and early.
Pavis looking to cross the field.
That's it.
Find a different route of attack and try and pull Wimbledon apart, which has been very difficult. And have they seen it out? What's the outcome? Long corner, is it? Yes, it is.
I think it is, yeah.
More attacking intent from Beeston.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's come from the position that the whole Beeston unit is in now, much higher up the pitch. This is where they need to be. Having said that, Wimbledon are happy to do a much deeper line of defence because they've got the 3 goals. But
here's a shooting chance. Big appeal. First penalty corner of the game for Beeston.
And this is what comes of that. This is what Wimbledon have been doing for the first 40 minutes of the game, and so Beeston have now got to this stage. Something comes of it.
Just changing the angles ever so slightly, Josh Pavis.
Yeah, ball fed in, Beeston player on the ball. You get a corner because the ball's in the D. Obviously, it's.
I think Ben Tibble possibly overcommitted, and that led the ball going through to be found in the circle. But it's small little things like that that make the difference.
Yeah, that's right.
So, who's the likeliest taker out of the people we can see on the field right now?
See that Kai Aking is in there. Josh Pavis, the 2 probable chosen flickers.
17 is Gareth Andrew. Of course, you know he's going to be there.
Yes, he'll be looking for anything that's loose, and he can just.
So he's not likely to be the striker, but
no.
He's likely to be mopping up. So let's see what Beeston can do from the penalty corner routine: power or precision. There's a little bit of movement around the edge. Maybe an early break. Played in, and that is a stunning goal for Beeston. They're on the score sheet.
Well, I mean, we've said, haven't we? You know, we've got to 48 minutes. It's the first corner, and you have to give some pressure to Wimbledon and make them struggle a bit. That's the first time Beeston have actually done that.
Word reaches us it could be Kai Aking with the goal, but let's watch it again on the replay. That is brilliant, and it beat the player on the line as well as the goalkeeper. That was a beautiful finish. Life in the game.
Yeah, he's kept it. It's not been the roof of the net. It's been low but accurate and just inside the post, and quite difficult to defend. So Wimbledon's goals have all come from outfield play, and Beeston have picked one from a penalty corner.
So, roll the dice. We've got 20 minutes to play or thereabouts.
Well, Beeston are going to need to find another goal in the next 5 to 10 minutes if they're going to pressure Wimbledon at all.
It does make you think, because the joy and the relief I think was there from Beeston. How's this going to affect Wimbledon? They're leading the game, they're comfortable. All things being equal, they're still likely to take the 3 points as things stand. Yes,
and Beeston's only option really is to pressure them and hopefully make them make errors again.
Just like this.
Yes. Because if they give them too much time again, they'll just settle back into the possession patterns.
Croft does well to make a nuisance of himself and win the ball back. Ball's travelled a long way.
And then turns it over. He's got to be more composed than that. He's the exuberance of youth.
Pavis being a bit of a human shield.
Yeah.
Right in front of it. Ian Sloan is just out of camera. Literally right in front of us.
Not sure he's limping.
Not sure all is well with Ian Sloan. I think it might be his knee we're hearing word about, but we'll confirm that in due course.
Now this is what they must stop Wimbledon doing, having all the time in the world to pass the ball around.
The connection with Henry Croft, I think that was the reason.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks to all for the feed of information.
Henry's stamped on him, I think.
So 60 seconds away from the next break in play.
Bit of a discussion going on with the umpire. As we were saying, Andy, if Beeston are going to lose this game, they want to do it by fighting for it and getting a goal back and maybe getting another goal and who knows after that, but not settle back. They've got to put pressure on Wimbledon and make life difficult for them, for their own good as much as anybody else's, just to give them that mental strength and fight.
Umpires are just doing some checking out of vision, making sure the right number of players are on the field. I think Ian Sloan coming into vision has just maybe put that thought into the mind that there may be too many players on the field, but all seems to be what we will do is keep the clock stuck at this time until we get to the end of the quarter. I think that's the best thing to do, because we don't know for sure.
Wimbledon's high forward, meaning that they can only pass the ball in one direction. But
this could work out very neatly. Where's the support? It isn't there.
Yeah, just getting on that ball and being a bit more comfortable on your possession. I know it's difficult in the D, but that's what you have to do at this level. You know, so you've got the opportunity to find a foot, make a pass. The ball just got away. I think it was Joe Waterston. The ball just got away from him.
And Wimbledon, knowing where we are in the game, happy to slow things down a touch. Alexander attempts the knockdown and gets the free hit.
Fighting his way out of there.
Literally here.
Typical trait of his.
I mean, the journalese word of describing
it.
Particularly
particularly for Richard, he's been one of the most combative players I've seen play. Particularly his indoor game, superb.
That's a gift shot, and it had to bounce before Simon Hujwan steadied himself to block the ball with his foot. That is that's gift bow.
I know, that's right. See, this is what happens when you're pressured and you hurry. And you know, that little moment where Beeston have got the corner is the sign of what they ought to be trying to do. They've repossessed quickly, get the ball forward and get some forwards high. They've got nothing to lose, literally.
Indeed. They've got that 2-goal cushion.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to try and bite into.
Yes, yeah.
With a quarter to play. So, I don't think we've seen the end of the goal scoring here.
No, I think that's right. We're just not sure which end they're going in at.
No, and as a neutral, that's great to watch.
Right.
For the people in here wearing yellow and black, I'm not sure that's not so exciting a thing. But stoic on the bench is Graham Griffiths, the coach, or the manager.
Yeah, Griff has been through every kind of situation you could imagine in his managing career. Triumphs and huge failures and all sorts of things, but he's still there.
Immovable.
Yes.
So, in a fewer words as possible, what's the message to the two teams? Firstly, Wimbledon.
Well, Carl Stagner will be telling them to be cool and calm and to get back to what they were doing in the first 17 and a half minutes, maintaining possession and making Beeston chase the ball. If I was talking to the Beeston guys now, I'd say, come on lads, you've got to press everything they do and try to force a mistake and get that ball back, and then they need to press high themselves and get into the D, because that's how their goals come, and that's really how they should have been playing for most of the game. And as we say, they've nothing to lose, and they have got time. We've seen games change from this position, but it's going to take a lot of real commitment and confidence to get stuck in by the Beeston lads.
There are goals in this side.
Yeah, I think that's right.
They're not obvious where they're coming from.
No,
someone needs to find them. So it will be fifth. At least first goal of the season for Beeston as well.
That's right. Yes, that's always a bit of a moment, isn't it? You need to get on the score sheet, literally.
We are going, and it is Beeston to start, and let's see if possession can be maintained. Well, it can. We've got 6 seconds before the umpire's whistle blew. An aerial ball from the word go. Goalkeeper, that's an unusual choice, but it's effective.
Yeah, they tried to find Ed Harper on the baseline there, but it's quite easy for James Bailey, who's not had a lot to do, but a very competent goalkeeper, as everybody knows. I know it sounds a bit blasé, but I'd be saying to the Beeston lads, get that ball forwards, even if all you do is smash it up there. And create some issues maybe for Wimbledon to have to deal with.
Is there anyone else not selected today who you might be thinking you'll see against Malaysia on Friday?
It depends what they want to do with any of the youngsters who are in the twos and the development part of the club, whether they want to bring anybody in to give them a look. But I think the focus will want to be on getting some match practice. I don't think they've had the best of pre-seasons in terms of standard of play. That'd be a good opportunity for them, really. So I think they'll use it as if it was another league game and try and get the best possible squad out.
Momentum, I think, is the
thing.
Yeah,
they need to do that, yeah. You can almost see the difference. I mean, Wimbledon's pre-season, they had games against Surbiton. I know that was the case, and I think they've been to Southgate and one or two other places for good quality opposition. If you're playing against Surbiton, it helps no end in terms of your pre-season prep.
Just for people who might not know, why is that a good thing?
Because you want your side to actually function and learn its shape and skills during the pre-season, so that it all comes together when you actually get into the league. And years ago we always used to make sure we got between 10 and 12 pre-season matches in place.
And that's not really been possible.
It's not been possible, no.
And Wimbledon finding it very easy to make the way around, but play has been halted.
See, from Beeston's point of view, they can get games against Brooklands of the standard, but if you're down in London, you've got Hampstead and Surbiton, and you can be playing quality pre-season fixtures, which I know they do, in preparation for the league, and it keeps them strong.
So easy. Simon Hujwan trying to not block access to the ball.
Yeah, I think they felt that he was on top of the ball there, but obviously that wasn't seen that way by the umpire. Again, these are the costly moments that ball needed to remain with a Beeston player, and when they go back over the video afterwards, I'm sure they're going to look at that.
It is Wimbledon who are coasting at the moment towards 3 points.
I think unforced errors is you can't build all your other things if your basics are off, and there's been a lot of that for Beeston this game. But to be fair, that's been forced because of Wimbledon's quality.
Just to let you know as well, the top 5 at the end of the first period. That's a big appeal. Play carries on. Is this a shooting chance? It's come away.
Fortunate for Beeston again. They've got that. So that's this is where I think they need to start to think about restarting quickly, because this is one of the few times when Wimbledon aren't set.
But that said, they did restart quickly, and it was still very easily picked up by
Yes,
Wimbledon.
it was, because they weren't committed enough to what they were doing. They've lost sight of where they need to get the ball to. That's the opposition's D.
James Hunt playing the ball and receiving it again here, number 3, just in front of the umpire.
It's sometimes too easy to make the safe pass. I think sometimes you've got to go a bit riskier than that and play forward. Get the ball going forwards.
It's come a long way. Good scramble for
Fight for it, Beeston. Fight for it there and make sure you come away with some possession and get on it now for a restart.
Still time.
Yeah, Wimbledon setting, and set.
James Hunt has got a lot of space. You can't see him on the picture, but he's got a lot of space outside of the circle. Big appeal, long corner, and there's a big shout for a penalty corner.
Yeah, there was, yeah. Well, again, he needs to try to put a bit of pressure on the umpires to give you the corners, but
that's a little bit of a waste. Good idea.
I totally agree with you, Andy. The angle of that pass into the D is not dangerous because the Beeston players got all on just to get onto it, let alone do anything dangerous with it. It could have been a lot better if it had been fired into the penalty spot and make Wimbledon struggle.
Wimbledon, I think, not necessarily creaking a bit, but
no.
One or two things aren't going their way, which were 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, they've tried a slightly different way. I mean, to see them throwing the ball out as an aerial shows they want to get it out of any pressure areas, but they don't want to concede a second goal because then it can leave you with 10 minutes of absolute mayhem if a side's got its tail up.
That's really neat from Robbie Gleeson, not only restarting, but the layoff was good as well, and he moved, continued his run.
I would like to see Robbie with his pace getting through the lines a bit, maybe ball carrying, because he's very capable of doing that. I think we've played a bit safe.
That's not great.
That's really careless and lazy play. That I can't see who that was actually. It was. If you're going to make a reverse stick slidey type pass, it's got to be an absolute dead cert. If you just do it when there's players around, it's the easiest one of the lot to pick off. And that was just too simple for Wimbledon to get the ball back. Yeah, a bit better pressure, but the rest of the team need to go with it, and so that the unit stays tight.
So just a touch over 11 minutes. Wimbledon in the box seat for 3 points. But
yes,
things are starting to click.
Well, you sort of get the impression if you could only have got Beeston to play like this from the start, it would have been a different game. I think they were far too cautious in the first half particularly. They weren't taking the risks to get the ball in the opponent's D. They struggled in the midfield to get any control.
Big crunch, and Wimbledon get the whistle.
Wimbledon defenders are far too experienced to let you just run the ball past them. They end up forcing you just to run it onto their stick, and then away they come.
Just recalling a few moments ago, I was saying that the top 5 go into a mini-league at the end of the first phase, and that the other 6 teams effectively play for the keeping out of the 2 relegation slots.
Yes, that's right, yes.
And even then, 2 relegation shots aren't exactly confirmed at the moment.
No.
So it's all up in the air, but it very much is in the interest of every team to end up in the top 5.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Here we go. Pace coming in from Will Prentice. He's gone a long way. He's had to try and run through a few of the Wimbledon defenders, so the layoff is in. Suki Panesar.
Play's gone on. I think they've allowed him to play on, so...
There's a switch back, and the shielding of the ball as soon as it was received, and that's what Reece Smith can bring to you, team.
Yes, yeah. He's read that well, and he's tried to dribble his way out of trouble. Thankfully, Beeston have picked that up there, but they need to put this...
That is very neat. Can that be kept in? It's fired across the face of goal. That was an attempted shot, and that was very sharp play.
Bit more defending for Wimbledon to do, because there's a bigger energy level from Beeston, which is good to see. It'd be lovely if they could get a second goal.
Good for the cameras. Big appeal.
Yeah,
looking for something that is a penalty corner. And wow.
10 minutes to go.
Grandstand finish, potentially. And by the way, Mussey's law of 3, you tend to find that 1 penalty corner gets converted every 3 opportunities. At the moment, Beeston are 1 for 1.
Yes, that's right. So they can
try and
keep that ratio going.
Bit of an untidy tackle. I think that was the call from Sam Hooper.
Yes, yeah.
And so, gathering around the edge of the circle, who have we got? Oh, Gareth Griffiths is number 7 with his back to us. Also there is James Hunt.
Yeah.
18 is Will Prentice. You can see Gareth Andrew spinning his stick in his hand.
Yeah, waiting for anything loose.
14, Josh Pavis. 5, Aikinger, who is a little bit further back this time, but options here.
Same pair of potential flickers there, so...
More movement around the edge of the circle. The trap is good. It's a routine. That's been blocked. Aikinger is racing for it on the right-hand side of the circle. Yeah,
fairly easy foot stop with from James Bailey there. He didn't really struggle with that. Pretty direct at the keeper.
Every ball out of defence. That's been taken down by Evan Kimber.
There we go, another little error. The pressure that Beeston have exerted has led to a few little errors, and it would have been nice if that had been earlier in the game. Energy levels lifted for Beeston, which is strange, bearing in mind that they're coming towards the end of the game. It shows that it could have been there in the first 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe too cautious, I think, to start with.
Well, something else that we can consider as well, given the weekend's results that we don't know. One thing we know for a fact is, as things stand, the Bees are bottom of the table.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Another blow of the whistle. I don't think we've had a card in this game so far.
No, I think that's been fine, hasn't it? That's you like to see the discipline good.
big collision, and coming away with it is Connor Sign. In possession now, James Hunt likes to go back. Crisp out of defence, but Wimbledon,
they're very marshalled. Yeah, their front three very good. They've got one pressing high all the time, and then two closing in, narrowing behind, and then the midfielders set the scene. So good press.
Exchange of players, of course. Don't forget, anyone can get subbed more or less at any time. So all 16 players are utilised.
Yes,
kept fresh, and Beeston have won it here. And can they convert this opportunity? Racing up is Joe Waterston. He's in a good position. Can the ball reach him? That was unfortunate to be rolled onto the foot from a very promising position.
Yes, yeah, I think that right-hand side again, it was a good restart, better than Beeston have been doing, and it put them near the D edge. Just that little bit of control, but again, good defence from Wimbledon. With
5 minutes and a little bit to go, another reminder that your thoughts via Twitter @officialBHC. Your thoughts on who stood out for you as player of the match. And also, Mus, if you can start thinking as well who's been your contender. We'll come back to that in a few moments' time, though. Been tapped out of play. I think Beeston have it here. So Connor Sign, number 9. With 5 minutes to go. Can we see a grandstand finish? At the moment, things don't look like it. But for TV purposes, wouldn't it be good?
Yeah.
Beeston looking to press now. They are looking sharp and they're looking hungry, which is so different to the first half. Aikinger with just
I think
too much on it.
I think leaving the ball is the wrong choice, because
Ben Francis has carried the ball a long way. The support is there. There's a lot of black shirts. The ball is into the circle. And that's a great save from Simon Hujwan, diving and with his left hand pad knocking the ball out of harm's way. He would be my Beeston player of the match, to be honest.
Yes, I agree. I think he's been so involved, and he's had to be, that and he's had a good game. He probably won't feel like that with the scoreline, but that's what happens from a keeper's perspective.
Loose ball in the circle, it's popped up off the stick, and it will be another Wimbledon ball.
I think the thing that's impressed me about Wimbledon is their organisation. They've not drifted away from it because they've found it fairly straightforward. They've kept with it. Their press particularly has been strong, so their training sessions and practice have been good, and work rate has been high as well. They've not struggled to return to defensive positions really quickly.
Cheap turnover.
Yeah, it's far too many of those.
Peter Scott taken it a long way. 3 minutes and a little bit of change to go. Crunch ball down the outside.
Yeah.
Time off. Player down. That is Callum McKenzie, if my eyes aren't deceiving me, 24.
You see, sometimes it's this tougher line of play, quicker line of play that gives opponents problems, and Beeston didn't do that to Wimbledon in the first half at all, and they should have done, really. And as it's happened, it's cropped up later in the game, and Wimbledon have struggled a little bit with it.
It would have been lovely to see this from the word go.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
games just don't do that.
Yeah, I think the Beeston squad's still finding its way, and you can see that in their organisation. But hopefully, a few weeks' time it'll be different.
Another Beeston ball. The level of urgency and pressure is unreal. That's a nice ball into the circle, knocked away.
Pickups again in the D. It just gets off the stick a little bit, and the defender steps in quite quickly and is able to take that away. Beeston have another chance here.
Alexander trying to twist and turn. That's just a little bit too quick for Aikinger to deal with. And that's a turnover. This is starting to really slip away. Any hope of even getting a second on the ball?
Yeah, it is. Yes, that's right. Yeah, credit to Wimbledon for dealing with that bit of pressure. You have to expect you're going to get patches of pressure in games, and they've handled it well.
Duncan Scott leaves it.
He's had a good game today, I think.
So who's your player of the match?
I think it would, for him, for me, I think Duncan Scott's played very well. I think Reece Smith has been constant presence and strong on the ball.
Of course, goal scorer as well.
Yeah, goal scorer as well, yeah. So
just keep the ball is the shout. That's not quite gone to plan, but second prize is a long corner for Wimbledon with 120 seconds to go.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep the ball in the corner and put the 3
Job
points
done,
in the bag.
yeah. And then back on the tram and the train, so they'll have a happy journey home.
Let's a quick look at the next fixtures for Wimbledon. So they've got hosting Holcombe on next weekend. And
yeah, that'll be an interesting
And then
fixture.
a match against Oxted, a trip to Oxted the following weekend, or the 10th.
Oxted, an up-and-coming team. They've got all the enthusiasm of having just arrived in the Prem. I know that they were there last season, but that's a bit different. Oh.
This could be a chance for 2. There's the layoff, and that's been turned in. It is!
Ed Harper.
Indeed, Eddie Harper on the score sheet for Beeston. I will eat my words.
Yeah.
There was no hope of a second goal, but yet it came.
There it was. I mean, the thing is, even if it stays at 2, let alone the 3 and a draw, but even if it stays at 3-2, that is a fight back, and that gives you something to work with.
And with 60 seconds to go, by the way, watching on the replay, this isn't a criticism, it's a genuine question. What was Michael Hall doing to not clear the ball?
I think you can sometimes slip into the habit of thinking you're going to get away with it, but again, we've said earlier, a bit more pressure from a Beeston player and you will make mistakes, and that's what we saw.
We've just seen Simon Hujwan leave the Beeston goal, so it's 11 outfielders for Beeston. They are throwing the kitchen sink at this with 60 seconds to go.
Yes.
What does this mean in practical terms? 11 outfielders, no goalkeeper in the Beeston goal.
Here we go.
And my word, pressure from Richard Alexander. We are going to see a card here.
Yeah, time
just
stopped.
in front of our window. And will we see a card? Umpire's going towards. It is a yellow card.
Yes, yeah. Well, we said, didn't we, Andy, if you can apply pressure in so many different ways, physically or skillfully, mistakes start to occur, and that's happened. But the pleasing thing is that Beeston are fighting for it.
Indeed. 30 seconds to go. That yellow card will just expire. 3-3 would be amazing. That's not great news, though.
Yes, that's another yellow card.
Robbie Gleeson, I think, is the...
or was it Gareth Griffiths? Oh, it's Robbie, was it? Yeah. That's a shame, really, because there was a moment there where I thought there might be an opportunity to get a corner, and then anything can happen. But
it's always nice to sprinkle a little bit of chaos into proceedings. And must say, Richard Alexander was like a tank there for about 60 seconds. The players bouncing off him left, right and centre. And Wimbledon, from coasting and comfortable, rocking a tiny bit. So the professional thing to do is to sling the ball as far as possible.
Yes, yeah.
And see the game out and bag all 3 points.
But Beeston can take some credit out of the fight back. They didn't sort of pack in on the game, and they've got the 2 goals because of it.
And that is the final result. It's drama here at Nottingham Hockey Centre. Wimbledon were 3 goals to the good. Beeston coming back with a surprisingly strong final flourish.
Yeah.
And ended up taking their goalkeeper off to try and secure at least a point.
Yes.
But it's 2 games and no points from Beeston. Wimbledon securing their first win of the season.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's have a quick look, if possible, at those scores. Scorers, and we can tell you the story of the game as the players are shaking hands. Wimbledon going into a 3-goal lead. Ben Francis on 19, Arthur Hughes on 26, and I think the pick of the goals from Reece Smith on 22.
Yes, yeah.
And then the Kai Aikinger on 5. Well, sorry, that's the squad numbers. I thought that was the minutes they were scoring. Ben Francis, Arthur Hughes and Reece Smith for Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Beeston converting a penalty corner very, very neatly from Kai Aikinger.
Yes.
And Eddie Harper scoring with 2 minutes to go.
Pinching a goal at the end, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
One to watch, I think, for the highlights rather than
Definitely.
the whole course of the game. But congratulations to Wimbledon. They had a game plan and executed it excellently. Beeston suddenly sparked into life with moments to go. But I think there's nuggets of good news.
They'll learn a lot from that, because they can obviously lift their standard, and they've got to try and get that from the start of a game rather than when they're up against it in the final quarter.
So Beeston host Malaysia on BTV on Friday the 1st of October. After that, it's a travel to Brooklands for the match against Brooklands MU, and then home here for the men against Hampstead and Westminster on the 17th. So a tricky series of games, and I think that says that it's a very, very important game against Brooklands on the 10th.
Yes.
Yeah. So, from all of us at BTV, it's been a pleasure keeping you company. It's not been a great day at the office, but it has been an entertaining 70 minutes of play here at Nottingham Hockey Centre. From all of us at BTV, enjoy. We'll see you again soon.